Today's episode is brought to you by Gray Block Pizza. Gray Block, get that hitter. Man, dude, can you believe snails exist? Think about that. Think about being a snail. Slow as hell. I mean, what's the most you travel probably in your whole life? Not that far. Think about that. Hey, what if another snail sends you a letter or something like, hey, you should come see us out in Nevada or something? Dude, it would take you 7 generations of offspring for your family to get to Nevada if you're a damn snail. Think, how would you even snail? That is one of Mother Nature's really limited time offers, I feel like. But
celebrate living, celebrate misery. You know that soon we're gonna die. Let's have some fun while we all die. Celebrate dark days, celebrate all your pain. All of your demons exercised.
let's have some fun while we all die. Okay. And that is Spencer Jacob Grau with Celebrate. And a beautiful song. And it is July 1 in the year 2019. 2019. And we are in July 1. And welcome to this past weekend. And thanks for stopping by. And it's Celebrate. That's that song right there by Spencer Jacob Grau. And it's a great week to celebrate. It's that week. It's that baby. It's that blown up baby, that 4th of July. And this is the time when shit gets really turned out. This that Betsy Ross. 4th of July is a special time of year. This is the time of year when you would see, Alexander Graham would maybe, let a couple ladies come ring his bell. You feel me? This when Betsy Ross would maybe show them front heaters, boy. Show them, she would flash, she'd lift up that flag and flash those milk nodules at the neighbors. It is the 4th of July. It's when you get as American as you want to. And you get to do what you do, Maybe put a special sauce on a Frank and just hum that thing at the neighbor. Maybe you play Go Deep. And that's where you have somebody run down the street and you throw a hot dog as far as you can and see if they can catch it in their mouth. And that's a beautiful thing. That's an old Pride Month trick as well. But it is time to celebrate. It's to celebrate America. A lot to celebrate here. 4th of July on the docket. 4th of July. The year, we are halfway over. It's halfway. Man, halfway is a big point, really. If you think about something like, if you got a big sandwich, you got that meaty treat, that freaking Lincoln log that's got you thinking about, maybe some mustard or relish. And boy, I'm a relish. I love relish. Sometimes when you're thinking about hot dogs and this and that, you see people they doing mustard. You see somebody doing mustard. I remember when I was young, I would see a man pick up that mustard bottle and just really, I mean, just control that thing as he just sprayed it on that Frank. I mean, I remember seeing this one man, and he picked up that mustard and just turned it right over with the nozzle down and just like he had done like he used to do spray caulking or something for a contractor. You know, this guy, I mean, he just filled in that Frank with that mustard and hit it straight into his jowls. Hoo. And he answered that question, boy, and put that meat owl right into his jowls, baby, that big Frank. And what I like is, is relish, though. There's always that odd jar of that condiment, that odd condiment that's sitting off to the side. That green. Some people don't even know what relish is. Some people see a thing of relish and are like, damn, what is it? It looks like a salad maybe had a heart attack or got electrocuted. And that's relish. And relish is, it's everything kind of. It's almost like, it's like being in love when you're young. It's romantic and it's sweet and it's spicy. And relish is like kind of soft and it's wet, but it's, trying to hold itself together, and it doesn't know what it is sometimes. Is it a vegetable? Is it a sauce? Is it what is it? And you can see relish sometimes. You can almost envision the bottle or the little jar. Relish comes in a little jar, a little glass cage, really. And you can almost, if you think about relish, you could see it you could see it maybe at a therapist's office sitting on a couch, just kind of wondering what it is. Because the other condiments, they're very clear. It's ketchup. This is tomatoes, and this is a specific sauce. And that mustard, boy, you hit that, you see a strong man just. But then you got relish. It's got a spoon out of it sometimes. Coming out the jar, the lid is missing. You're like, where's the lid? Who gonna, how they gonna contain this relish if they need to? Yeah, and that's why I think I've always related to relish. I've always related to relish. Because I never knew kind of some what I am, but I'm right off there. I see the ketchup's there, the mustard's there, and they're partying. And sometimes people love them, but then I'm there too. I don't know what I am sometimes, but I'm trying to hang in there. I'm independent. I'm on the party table. I'm there with the other. I'm right next to the beef franks and the patties and the turkey patties. But I'm independent at the same time. So, yeah, I think I've always related to relish. And it's Independence Day coming up. It's Independence Day. So if you feeling alone, man, this is your day, man. Independent as you want to be. And I think a lot about independence. I think, a lot of people ask me about, like, when are you going to do a Netflix special? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do a special? And I think about that, but I think about, there's been offers for a special, for a stand-up comedy special, but I think about this. What if you sell a special to a platform, in a platform that's like Netflix or Amazon or, Comedy Central, a different place. If one day they decide they don't like your voice being in the world, which sounds maybe they wouldn't, people say, well, maybe they wouldn't do that, or they might not. But if one day they do, if you sell them something, then it's theirs. They own it. So they could press a button and you're off the docket. Your voice doesn't even exist anymore. And when I see sometimes, a lot of times, they haven't even put, I feel like some of these places haven't even put somebody from, like a rural person on television or on given them some opportunities in a long time. So it makes me think, well, what if they just decide, oh, we don't like this guy's voice anymore? Then they can eliminate it if they own it. So I just think about that. I think about that. Well, once I sell something to them, they own it, and they could delete it when they want to, and that I don't exist. So it's just a battle sometimes to think, well, do I just want to stay independent? And just this way I know that no matter what, right or wrong, no matter what choices I make or decisions I make, even if some of them are okay and some of them are not okay, someone else doesn't get to say, oh, well, we didn't like this choice this person made in their life or this thing they did, and we don't like their voice being out there, and we can take them off of our platform. And since we own their voice, since we own what they sold us, then that's that. They're gone. And some people, you might say, well, that's kind of crazy to think about, but I don't know if it is. I mean, it seems like people's voices can get muted a lot of times these days if they're owned by someone else. So I just, I think about independence. I think about, America was founded, people wanted to be independent. I mean, things was going so bad in Britain, some people got into a boat and left. And the people in Britain were like, where are you going? And they're like, we don't know. I mean, that's crazy. Things must have been really rocky if you left and didn't even know where you were going and only had just a couple sandwiches, a couple of, decent chicks with you. You didn't even have something, you didn't even have a real, amazing batch. A couple cauldrons of soup or whatever, gunpowder, that gunpowder chowder, bro. That's what they were eating back then. I mean, you needed something you could pop off, and then something you could fill your gullet, and something that you could fill your musket. You need that gunpowder chowder, something that you needed that double-edged meal. That way you could use it to fight, you could use it to feast. But that's crazy, independence, So yeah, people ask about that, about being independent and what I think about it, and or about doing a special. And that's one of the things that kind of holds me up sometimes. It's just something where I don't want to be owned by someone. I don't want someone to own me where one day they could say, well, we don't really want your voice out there, so, we don't like your kind. I mean, I feel enough of that when I even got out here to Hollywood. We don't, oh, you sound this way. You're not really well, it just, it's kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. Oh, you don't have, I don't know, man. They think everybody where I'm from is just a racist or an idiot. They think a lot of rural white people or rural people at all are just ignorant. And it just, I don't know, man. I've never really felt super welcome. And now some of that could be my own fault. Maybe sometimes I don't want to be welcome. Maybe there's something inside of me that doesn't want to be welcome. I mean, maybe people could lay out 100 welcome mats and maybe I wouldn't notice it. But I do notice when people's voices get silenced if they're not a certain way. And I don't think my voice is that. But who knows in 10 years from now, if that's what people could, if, somebody at some company's like, oh man, this guy doesn't think like it the same exact way I think about everything. So we got to get, let's take him off the platform, and then you're gone. So I don't know. I just think about that kind of stuff sometimes. You work so hard to create your own voice, to just try and stay independent and just do your own thing. And then something comes along and, I don't know. It's like the snail, man. I mean, you don't even know, that snail doesn't even know he'll trudge his whole life to get 40 feet. But then his son, he might have a little bit, at 39 feet, he might, slug up with another little bed bug, and then they have a baby. And that baby goes, the next generation, he goes that next 40 feet. And then the next generation goes the next 40 feet, and they just keep going. You know, sometimes it takes a couple of legs to get somewhere. It takes a couple of generations to get somewhere. You know, if you're riding that independence, sometimes you got to ride it out. So anyway, I'm not saying that I wouldn't do a comedy special with another group or something like that, but I really, I have a tough time thinking about being, about my artwork and stuff being owned by somebody, or my stories. I mean, and maybe I'm overthinking things. That's fine. But, I can't help the way that I think, all the times the way that I think. This is just, I'm kind of sentenced, kind of stuck here in this. I mean, some people's brain, it really makes perfect sense. You got that cucumber, you got them tomatoes, boy. But then, damn, boy, I got this jar of relish up here. I had a great time hitting Oklahoma and Texas. I want to thank everybody that came out of San Antonio. In San Antonio, I don't know if you ever been here. They got a lot of, downtown. They had a lot of real vagrants chilling, like a lot of hitchhikers, but none of them are hiking. They're just hitching. They're just literally just hitched right there. I mean, there's no, a lot of people that look like they're about to catch the bus, but never get on the bus. You feel me? It's kind of like it's like kind of like a southwestern Sacramento in a way, or like a southern Sacramento. Had that same vibe. But amazing crowd that came out, man. Beautiful people, man. And just, man, I went in the lobby. They had the hotel that we stayed at. They had horchata. And horchata, boy, if you never had this stuff, it's basically, dude, if I come back reincarnated, I hope I come back reincarnated as a little Latino, as a little Mexicano. Because I want that sweet breast milk. And I want that sweet tit sip. That leche. Dang, bro, that horchata, dude. And if your mom's serving up horchata, bro, you definitely probably going to be able to dance, because you're going to have fucking sugar in your step. But they had a little jug of it in the lobby of the hotel. You get your little ladle and ladle you out a sip of that fucking sugary Mexican sauce, bro. And it was good, dude. I can't even, who knew breast milk? Sign me up. We had some calls that came in, man. And let's get to a couple of calls on the hotline. Man, I got to go get a cortisone shot or something. My neck is killing me. So let me get into this call. The hotline, as always, is 985-664-9503. Here we go.
Good gang. Hey, this is Evan, Austin, Texas. Man, that shit was nuts. I was at your 9:30 show in Austin.
Oh, yeah, gang, brother. Thank you for coming out. That was a beautiful theater there in Austin. A beautiful theater, man. I mean, that kind of place you could damn shoot the president in. Beautiful. They had, I don't even know. And they had a bowl of those circus peanuts backstage. God damn, I probably had 40 of them. Dude, I probably had 40 of them, bro. I got Barnum and Bailey in my bowels, bro. I had about 40 of those beautiful kind of pink orange circus peanuts, and they're kind of sweet but also kind of good, and they're not even really peanuts actually, so anybody could eat them on an airplane without dying, so that's beautiful. But let's go on onward.
And it was an amazing show, by the way. I had no idea you were so animated. The whole show from front to back was amazing.
Oh, thanks, man. That's nice of you to say it, dude. The second show in Austin was really good. The first one I was feeling a little bit, I had a lot on my mind, but that second one, dude, I really felt that fire.
But afterwards, man, that was a commotion. I don't know how it usually goes at shows, but that shit was nuts, dude. I was standing in this crowd, and everyone's trying to get your a picture taken with you, and I was standing there, and I was doing the same thing, and man, I got to admit, it felt a little dirty, like just cause we were all just kind of getting a little rowdy, like it was kind of crazy, and at one point I heard someone say, "I touched his mullet," you know.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little crazy.
And that's a pervert usually. More?
Crazy. But anyway, I wasn't able to get in there and get a picture with you, but that's all good, man.
Gang, bro. Well, thank you for calling and thanks for coming out, man. And yeah, you know, after the show, sometimes like I feel bad because I don't get to meet a lot of people that come to the shows. You know, we've been doing meet and greets at some of the shows, and because otherwise, at some point you would be there all night, and it just gets it really does get exhausting. It's awesome, but it just gets, you know, I've just been tired. I've been trying to eliminate some stress and stay less stressed. And the biggest thing I want to be able to do is perform well for everybody, or perform well for anybody that comes out. So, yeah, so we had, you know, so after the show, sometimes if there's not even a meet and greet or anything, I'll try and just sneak out and just, you know, buzz out and get some pics with people or say hey or see what's going on. And, you know, because I like to know who's coming to the show and who you are. You know, I feel so bad sometimes that I do so much talking, and I don't get to know a lot of times who you are. So I try to pop out and meet some people, and yeah, in Austin it was a little wild. A lot of people wanted to get photos, and I'm okay with it. You know, the part, because most of the people are just super nice. You know, most of them are super nice. Hey man, me and my brother came, my wife and I came, or you know. You'll see a guy, oh, I'm so proud, man, I brought my dad out. He you know, he's never been to a comedy show, or we never been to a comedy show together. You know, or you'll see somebody, hey man, you know, we have our first baby coming up, and you know, we love listening to you. Somebody will be like, oh, we put you on when we fall asleep at night. And I'm like, dang, dude. That's sad kind of, but it's also sweet of you. And so, you know, it's nice to just see what people, you know, what you're thinking, what I'm thinking and what you're thinking, and being able to match those vibes a little. But yeah, outside in the Austin, it was a lot of people, and it was, and I just felt bad because, you know, I just wanted to get to say hey to everybody, and I tried to do as many as I could. The venue got pissed off, and they, you know, the lady in there got all rambunctious, saying liability and insurance issues and stuff, and dude, whatever, you know. If I've spent my whole life thinking about that kind of stuff, then I'm not really going to be living much of a life, am I? But thank you for coming out, man, and thanks for the call. I appreciate it. And yeah, you know, I guess there's, you know, I think about that sometimes, like getting a picture with someone, is it dirty? And I think I usually try and be able to tell, like, if somebody's being mean, if they're white, you know, sometimes they'll have a guy will come up and his wife will be drunk and she'll be saying rude stuff. I don't need a photo with you. I don't need us to really share that much of a moment of our lives if you guys are, you know, if people are being mean or something. But sometimes, you know, it's people just being nice or being chill, and so it's like, you know, sometimes it's nice to be able to just capture a moment, capture a smile. You know, I try to put a big smile in there. I used to be afraid to smile a lot of times. You know, when so much of my life, even a lot of my 20s, I was just afraid to smile. I just hated the way that my smile looked. And so I was afraid to do it. But yeah, it definitely feels like it can get a little meat markety in there. You know, somebody put a couple of smoked almonds in my pocket. So I don't know if that's an old religious thing or something, but some lady or man hid about 4 or 5 smoked almonds in my pocket. I brought them back home with me. I got them on the kitchen counter right now. So I don't know what that's for, but I'm going to have to look it up. But, you know, in Chinese culture, they say that they used to say that taking a photo with someone, they didn't want to do it because it took a part of your soul. Let me look that up. Chinese don't take pictures because of soul. Let me see what this says. Do culture believe that photography can steal your soul? Yes, a number of cultures do not want their spirits captured by a box, while most now accept that this will not occur. When photography was first around, it was magical in a way that made people fear it. I remember being a student and studying abroad, or just traveling and going to China for a couple of days, or Hong Kong. And they had a woman there with her granddaughter, and they were so unique to me, looking to me, and they just had, like, we're having a fun, cute exchange. And so I went and got my camera out to take a photo of them, and they stopped me. The woman came up and stopped me. She said, no. And they didn't want it. They said it could believe that it could take part of your soul, But well, here's another one. It says, the belief in a soul or spiritual double of a person is found in almost every culture in the world. Even Western peoples have some belief in things affecting images of a person. It will affect them. Oh, so that's almost like voodoo dolling. That people, if it's almost the same thing. People believe that if you had an image of someone, that you could then conjure spells upon that image or upon that doll. That's kind of interesting. There was also beliefs your image is in the mirror. If you break the mirror, it affects you. That could have been where that 7 years of bad luck comes from, if you break a mirror. What else? But yeah, there's an old belief that, you get photos and it takes part of your soul. But yeah, I don't think we're doing any soul taking, but I hope that if I see you again and you want to grab a snap, man, we'll get it. It's funny, and half the people outside of there, half of them come up and want to get a photo. Half of the people just want to say hey. So it's kind of just a mix, really. But just excited to be able to put on a good show, man. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I appreciate you peeping it, bro. What else we got? We got a call that came in here. 985-664-9503 is the hotline. Here we go.
Theo, what's up, man? This is Evan out here in Austin, Texas.
What's up, Evan? Thank you for calling, bro. And we tried to go to Barton Springs and get in the river, and they said it was closed for painting or something. And that shook the freaking bait right out of my bass mouth. You feel me? Because how are you painting if you're a river? If you're a park, a river park. So
I guess I was just calling, man. I wanted to thank you, man, for being so open, honest and really vulnerable about some of the things you bring up. I've been listening for like about a year now.
Oh, dude, thanks for listening, man. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing sometimes. So, and by sometimes, I mean most of the time. I mean, today, dude, I didn't even want to start this episode. I just felt nervous. Man, I just felt kind of scared. And that's why I was even thinking about snails at the beginning of this episode, because snails, dude, how much scared must they be? Knowing they slow as hell, or knowing it's going to take forever. It must be scary to just start scooting. You don't even have wheels. You'd think if a snail at least had a secret wheel inside of him, he would enjoy it, but they don't even have any secret wheels.
When you started saying that you have, problem with porn and you're trying to get that out of your life, I started thinking, like, you can do that? Like, it's something that I've struggled with, but I didn't put it together that it's something I can actually maybe work on, People talk about their problems with porn, but in a joking way. They never say, like, it's something I'm actually trying to work on. The funny thing is, I just got a vasectomy a few weeks back, and
dang, boy. And that sounds like the dark arts, boy. Letting somebody inside of your nuts with some scissors, dude. Come on.
This is something I didn't know. When you get a vasectomy, the doctor said I gotta bust like 40 nuts in like 2 months.
What, dude? This sounds like a bad chapter of the Bible that doesn't exist. You gotta bust 40 nuts in 2 months, dude? Bro, that's a lot, dude. You're gonna be like the Michael Phelps of really busts, boy. Dude, you're going to need a pool. You're going to be swimming in your own seed, brother. This sounds really unconventional.
Like, it sounds pretty doable, but when you got a toddler at home and, a full-time job.
Dude, if you busting 40 nuts, dog, you ain't going to have a full-time job. You're going to be on a gurney, buddy. If you doing 40 nuts out of yourself, you're going to be on a gurney.
It's a feat. So I'm trying to juggle that while doing this masturbation Olympics over here. It shows people, it's just one of those things. It's like, you don't realize that you can fix something about yourself sometimes until you see someone else doing it to themselves. So thank you for that. And yeah, that's all, man. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. That's sweet of you to say that. I never really plan on thinking that I would be like influencing anybody to, or not influencing, but just thank you, bro. It's sweet of you to say. I just don't want somebody look, man, I hated so much of my 20s, bro. I spent, I was uncomfortable around women a lot of times. I would get very nervous sexually. And so then at a certain point, I would just watch pornography and masturbate at the house and do that jerk out, And I used to hate jerking off indoors because I felt like it was real sinful, so I would jerk off outdoors, nature back into nature. And just, show that work to the Lord out there. But then after a while, I was masturbating indoors and, things were just getting out of control. And then once pornography really popped off, it was just, dude, I would have a date set up with a girl that I liked, and then I would end up masturbating, and then I would cancel the date and sit at home and have maybe a 40 or 60 count of vanilla creams. And that was it. And I would do that. And that just started to grow on itself to where I was just mostly I was basically a masturbator that also had a job. But a full-time guy. And I wasn't masturbating like 10 times a day or anything. It was just once a day usually. But it would be like this bad habit. I'd finish my day, watch pornography. And then I didn't really try and be in any relationships or even communicate with women that much because I didn't really need to. I still had some desires, but the biggest thing I knew I was finishing off, I was polishing myself. I was going to give myself that fast hand snail, you feel me? So, but then, a couple years ago, I realized it was a problem for me. And then about a year ago, I realized, man, I can put on different blockers on my computer and phone. And no joke, I feel so much better now. It's been a year now since I put blockers on my computer and phone. And I think only twice have I looked at pornography in the past year. Maybe 3 times. That blows my mind because I never thought that would be the case. And it affected my relationship with women. I didn't want to, I still have, I would still get to, catch a little bit of trim here, or catch that, hunt a little bit of, that moist choice out there. I'd be out there hunting that, that soft little leg trout, you feel me? But I wasn't feeling, let me see. Not watching pornography makes me, I'm just a little bit more actually engaged towards females. I don't know, my confidence is a little more, my actual desire to communicate and interact on a human level, because my brain isn't distorted anymore by just this just only sexual idea. And so, it's given me a new opportunity to see women in more of a complete light and a little more multifaceted, to the point where then I can care about them more. Because before, pornography had really kind of charred some of my growth in that area, or it had halted it. And now I feel a little bit more open, just to, I don't know, just ideas that I wasn't open to before. I care a little bit more about, and it's giving me more confidence. My self-confidence has gotten better since I quit masturbating. and my shame has really adjusted. Man, after a while, I was so ashamed of myself, and I didn't realize it. Masturbation makes me feel shameful, and I think it's okay that it does, dude. You have the gift you have the ability to create life, and you busting it out into a dang, into a firm or a bougainvillea or whatever, or the yard or a sink or something, or a little, my buddy used to jerk off into a country crock thing, an empty one, but still. So yeah, I don't have that shame. I just don't have as much shame as I used to, and that has been priceless, bro. But thank you for calling and saying that, that you've recognized that maybe that's something in your life that is something that could be adjusted. Because yeah, how can I love a woman really, or have even a lot more feelings like that if the only way I see them a lot of times is these intense sexual ways through pornography. And look, I'm not saying there's some sultry stuff out there. I remember you show me a leg, a nice fucking, that thick thigh hanging out of a damn Corvette window, and I'll chub up a little now. And I get more natural and rural chubs than I used to. I used to only get chubs, only during watching pornography. But now I'll get some body chub every now and then in an elevator on an airplane. So, but thanks for calling, man. And that's nice of you, dude. Good luck with the family over there. And I don't know if you got to do 40 in whatever you were doing a month or whatever. You might want to reread Exodus or whatever. I don't know what chapter you got that out of, but you might want to peek around on that. I also want to say this, man. We had a fella who was a fan of the podcast. Tyler is his name, and he passed away. And his mother came out and saw me in Austin and brought me a picture of him, and we'll have it on the YouTube right now. And I had met him in Addison, and I remember meeting him. And he was a sweet fella, nice guy, big smile, and just, he had so much joy coming out of him. You could tell. It's not surprising. God had really put him on fast forward, because it almost seemed astronomical how joyous the kid was. And now I see that, they were expediting the joy out of him, because they were bringing him back onto the other side. And it wasn't anything tragic. He passed away in his sleep, but his mother came out to a show in Austin and brought me a picture of me and him from when I'd met him in Addison, and it was very sweet, and I really appreciate that. And and I'm sorry for their loss. I can't imagine what that's like, and I'm grateful that I got to meet your boy even for just a minute. And I hope that some of the energy that I met whenever I met him, I hope it stays alive inside of me. And I appreciate you for bringing me that picture of him and me. That's really sweet of you. Let's take another couple calls. Here we go.
Hey, Theo. This is Chandler representing Nashville. I'll be on the North Shore next week. I'll see you, bub. Man, I got a question.
What's up, Chandler? Thank you for hitting me up, man. Thanks for calling in. Onward.
You've seen some shit, man. I grew up, I saw something. I don't know if you've seen this, man. We were on the soccer team, man. There was an assistant coach, and he talked about the marble game. It was this game, and he got us all hooked on it, where you put a marble in somebody's belly button, and it was, how quick could you get that out there with your tongue? Man, have you seen that? Have you seen the marble game, bro? Just want to see your thoughts on that. Anything similar? Gang, brother.
Well, if you glue it in there, I think if you super glue a marble into your belly button and then you do it, it's going to be a funner game probably. Or that super glue on your skin is going to burn. But it's going to be more of a heated competition. I think just trying to get a marble out of somebody, it wouldn't be that crazy. You know, we had this thing they would put, I don't know if I want to, it might not be the day to talk about that one, but, you know, people do like kind of a hold a marble in their sphincter and try to just, you know, hold on through a couple of songs. They would play different songs and stuff on the guitar, and you could see if you could hold it. But thank you for calling, man. A lot of unique games out there. You used to do Sugar Mouth, and people would put sugar in their mouths and fill it, and you try to slap it out of each other's faces. But that was when you were young, and you could really bounce back pretty quick. What else, man? Let's take another call that came in here. Here we go.
Hey, Theo, this is Steve from New Jersey. Listening to your latest episode, talking about your parents sleeping in opposite beds and all, and
Thank you for calling, Steve. New Jersey, beautiful place, man. Probably one of the top 50 places in America, I think. Onward.
it kind of hit me thinking, you know, questioning my relationship, because my wife and I, you know, a lot of times we sleep in different beds, and you know, we do love each other. There's a lot, you know, a lot of love in our relationship. I think the most part is we work opposite shifts, and it led to a lot of fights, just being up, rolling around while she's trying to go to sleep. So we kind of have an agreement to sleep in different beds, and I just want people to know it might not be a bad thing. Like, you can still love each other and get good sleep in different beds. We have a kid on the way, actually, and
Congratulations, man. That's amazing. That's awesome, man. Congratulations, boy. So we'll wonder how that'll affect the you know, the Romeo and Juliet kind of sleeping style, the Tagaways and the Montagues or whatever. What is it, Tagaways? No, I don't know. Onward?
some pretty exciting news. You know, I can't believe I'm going to be a father for the first time, but I'm getting choked up even saying it. But I just hope my kid understands that I love my wife, and if we are sleeping in different beds at the time, they know we love each other, and it doesn't matter. We're just trying to get some good sleep. But hey, man, I've been a listener to since day one. I appreciate everything you do. Gang, gang, gang.
Gang, bro. Thank you for, you know, that's so funny you said that. Yeah, it's like you hope your kid knows that you and your wife love each other. You know, it's funny. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's so funny how it's hard to let people, like, time is so weird because it's so hard to let people know what we want them to know at certain times, kind of. You know, like when I was a kid, I just wanted my mom just to be okay. You know, I wanted her to feel okay. I wanted her to not have to work and not have to stress out, and I just wanted to help her. And I wanted her to know that I wanted to help so much, and I couldn't express it as a kid. I was just too young. I didn't know how to do it. I just, you know, and here you are, you know, you guys are about to have a kid, and you want the kid to know that you and your wife love each other. You wanted the kid to know how much that you already love it, even though it's not even here, you know, and the kid, your child won't even be able to really, they'll feel that, I'm sure, but you won't be able to tell them that until in a way that they can accept it and know and really hear it, maybe till their 20s even, you know, when someone can really understand what someone else's feelings are and stuff, you know. I mean, you'll be able to tell them as they're growing up, I love you and this and that, but later when they get a little older, they might really be like, wow, you know, my parents really cared for me this whole time, but you want them to know that now, and that's just so normal. I mean, it's just so interesting how, you know, we it's like the time, it's like what we want to have, sometimes it's so hard that we can never fully express, man, what am I trying to say here? I mean, I know what I'm trying to say. That sometimes it's interesting, we can never really express to somebody how much that we care, or how much we want them to know they are loved. You know, and we can never do it in real time sometimes. It's hard. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I know what I'm saying, but I just can't iterate it exactly. But that really hit me, man. Yeah, you just want her to know that you and your wife love each other. And I think that there's no doubt. There's no doubt that your kid's going to know that. I mean, if you guys were sleeping on opposite ends of the world, I feel like your kid might know it. That's cool though, dude. What a big adventure. And yeah, I think it's a loving thing to sleep on other sides of the nest, man, so you guys can get a little bit of rest, especially if you're working odds and ends. But yeah, I think even just having like, you know, you could always play that message for your daughter and say, or your son, and say, look, you know, this is how much I loved you before you were even born. You know, I remember a couple of years ago, about 5 years ago, I went to this thing. It was called Landmark, and it was like this. It's a thing that people go to learn about thoughts and their past and this and that. And I remember that on one of the lunch breaks, they tell you to go call someone in your life. And I remember calling my mom and just saying, you know, Mom, did you love me when I was a kid, you know? Because I just needed to know. I'd never asked her and I'd never known. And I didn't want to have any more thoughts in my head that when I was a kid, you know, I didn't want to have errant thoughts where I didn't think that my mother loved me when I was a kid. Even if she couldn't relate to me or whatever, I just didn't want to think that she didn't love me. And so she said, yes. She said, you know, I always loved you. I've always loved you. And it was something I needed to hear. I didn't realize it, you know. And it was scary to even ask her, you know. I was like walking around. I was pacing outside of this conference room, you know, crying on this fucking body's damn. They had a damn, a damn thing of wasps or whatever. And fucking this, people's eating lunch and doing sandwiches. And I'm out there like, did you love me when I was a child? You know, me, fucking damn Muppet. But I needed to know. You know, I needed to know, because it was a part of me inside of me that just it was more of a question mark than it was, you know, a caulking. You know, it wasn't really filled in. You know, I needed that. You know, I just needed it to be filled in. All right, I want to take a second and just support an artist that has helped out this podcast, and just, I mean, this guy has made a drawing, and this guy is Joe Ace, and he's an art connoisseur, and he's made a drawing, a beautiful sketch of every guest that we have had on the episode. And, I mean, these cards that he has done are absolutely remarkable. Joe Ace, he's an art connoisseur. He is a maker of stuff. He's made art for our studio, and custom portraits of all of our guests, like I said. I mean, we have all of them here. I don't know if you can see. Right here, we've got Chris Hansen, Bert Kreischer, the sex lady therapist who was in the glasses. We got Sebastian Maniscalco. I mean, he's just done them all. Ron White. And he's not even trying to sell stuff, you know. What he wants to build is a community of cool people who like art. So if you want to do him the favor of following his work on Instagram at ace.j_, and that's ace dot the letter J and then underscore, for future contests, giveaways, and available art. He's not selling anything. He did this totally out of the goodwill of his own heart. And but we have thought about if we could get permission to make a deck of cards and have the money go towards maybe single moms or some charity or do something special. We had two single moms so thank you so much, Joe Ace. I want to thank you very much, man. It blows me away when I look through this deck of cards, or this deck of portraits. It absolutely blows me away. Just everybody we've even had on here. Man. We had two single moms that came out in Tulsa. And I just want to thank you guys for your support. And we're going to follow up with them this week. And one of them was one of the same single mothers that had come out in West Siloam Springs about a year ago. The first one that ever came out, Julie Swinson. And so we got to see her again, and her son is 10 years old now. He just celebrated his 10th birthday. and they seem to be just doing great. And we're going to follow up with them this week and do something special for them to help out with the kiddos this summer. And yeah, and thank you very much, TPW, all the listeners and supporters. And that's what we do here. It's what we try to do anyway. And sometimes we fail and sometimes we don't. Today's episode is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare, it's an online learning community for creators with more than 25,000 classes in design, business, and more. You'll discover countless ways to fuel your curiosity, creativity, and career. Maybe there's something you can't do. You can't do a recipe or make a, like a bouillabaisse or something, a romantic soup. But if you get on Skillshare, you may be able to solve that inability. You can take classes in social media marketing, mobile photography, creative writing, even illustration. Whether you're looking to discover a new passion, start a side hustle, or gain a professional skill, Skillshare is there to keep you learning, thriving, and reaching those new goals. You want to learn filmmaking? Try low-budget filmmaking, tips and tricks for an indie look. One of the most popular courses on Skillshare. Join the millions of students already learning on Skillshare today with a special offer just for my listeners. Get 2 months of Skillshare for free. That's right, Skillshare is offering this past weekend listeners 2 months of unlimited access to over 25,000 classes for free. Just go to Skillshare.com/Theo Von. Again, go to Skillshare.com/Theo Von to start your 2 months now. That's Skillshare.com/Theo Von. Right now I want to call in. Actually, I'm going to call. There's a lot of you guys follow Barstool or know about them. One of their writers, who I performed with in Boston, Francis Ellis, just got let go by them. And I want to give him a call right now to find out a little bit more about what happened, because it's really interesting to me.
Theo.
Big Francis.
My man, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. You sound unemployed.
I do?
No, you don't, man. You sound good. I'm just joking.
I feel good. I don't know. I don't feel unemployed, but I am.
Well, you just kind of, do you feel set free? Like, what kind of happened with the situation? It seemed, what happened with the situation?
Sure. On Friday, I wrote a blog about a girl who had been missing for a week.
Mm-hmm.
The headline that I saw was that her sorority sisters had seen her Instagram was active, so there was reason to hope. And then I read a headline that said that authorities did not suspect foul play. I thought that meant she was kind of okay. In my mind, that meant good news.
Yeah.
And I didn't even really think about what was actually happening. And if you read the blog I wrote, I wasn't making fun of her. I was kind of just lazily saying, here's the story. She's also a fan of a podcast we have at Barstool. Hopefully, though, when she turns up okay, those girls can send her some merchandise.
Yeah, I checked it out.
Yeah, and, I think that the tone and the timing were what really made it so bad and so careless and just a major oversight on my part and very thoughtless, and it came off kind of heartless, and they had to let me go, and I totally understand their decision. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following that case pretty close. I mean, as much as I could, just in the news, checking up a couple times a day and seeing what was going on. Yeah, I guess, like you said, the timing and the tone. But don't you think, do you feel that, an apology? I mean, it's obviously, if I listen to you right now talking about it, it's very obvious, what happened. You misjudged what was going on. You were taking things from the news stories, and yeah, you weren't mean, you weren't malicious, and you just kind of made, I guess, kind of an accident.
I did. I think, it's very important to note that what my intention was, which was not to somehow disgrace the memory of a girl who had lost her life.
Yeah, of course not.
It was to sort of, I guess, highlight a major news story that I thought was developing in a different way. And my big fault was that I should have read more about it and realized that regardless of what the outcome was, this was still a situation I should not have touched upon. And of course, a couple hours after I wrote it, they announced that they had found a suspect, and then it started really looking horrible from there.
Yeah.
And that's when I took the blog down, and I realized how just awful my mistake had been. So yeah.
Do you think that most people are like understanding and can forgive you? Like, I mean, most people, yeah, like even when I read it, I was like, oh man, Francis just didn't kind of realize what was going on. This was a mistake, but it's things happen and that's that. Yeah,
I think I was actually kind of I was encouraged by the response to my mistake, because I thought we live in this world where there's a lot of outrage, and people equate a lot of mistakes and behavior under one like lump problem.
Right.
But the overwhelming response showed that people are able to differentiate between people's mistakes, and they didn't put me under the same category as a Harvey Weinstein or a name your problem. And
Alyssa Milano.
Sure, I don't know if I don't know what she did. I didn't even know.
I don't know. She just won't shut up all the time. But no, I feel you though. Like, but yeah, it seems to me like most people can differentiate, and it's like, so why does it seem? Were you shocked that like your employers have to go with a couple of blogs that that nobody maybe even reads writing something?
I think Barstool understands that by being a writer there, I have a privilege and an obligation to be more careful.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many eyeballs. It's such a big platform and such a gift to be able to write there that you have to be careful, and you have to be better than I was. I hate to say it, but like that blog I wrote it was a lazy blog in every sense of the word.
I see what you're saying.
It wasn't like something that I would have hung my hat on or been like, this is good work. It was just something I wrote to like show that I had come to work that day.
I see.
And that's just unacceptable, especially with that subject matter. So I totally understand Dave Portnoy's decision to say, that I had abused the platform they gave me. I made the company look bad, and I'm paying for it, by losing my job. So I get it, and it's fair to me.
Wow, man, it's a lot of ownership by you, man. I think it's really remarkable. Even hearing you say that, like, to recognize your own part in things. No matter what the outcome, even if inside of yourself somewhere you felt the outcome was just or wasn't just, like, just to recognize your own part in it. And I mean, it probably gives you a little bit more of a place of power than or comfort than a place of just sitting there like with your head between your hands.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're like one of the most talented guys, man. I mean, I think you're so talented, so charismatic. And I think Dave even said that. I watched his Instagram video. Do you think that if Barstool wasn't owned by like a larger company, that this still would have been the case, or do you think that, do you think that plays like a bigger role? Just not just into like overall like decisions that have to be made. Like, oh, we're part of a bigger group now, so this is some, there are other voices that influence.
Right. It's a good question, and one that a lot of people have asked me. And honestly, personally, it's a lot healthier for me to just not question it very much, and to just know that I screwed up, and that it's on me, and that I could play the what if game in so many different ways. Like,
right.
what if she had turned up alive and was fine? Like, would I be in trouble to the same degree?
Right.
And what if, if Barstool hadn't been the controversial company that it is?
Right.
Would I have been dealt with the same way? I can ask so many questions, but the bottom line is I did something really stupid, and in a professional setting, when you work somewhere, there has to be consequences. And if this is the punishment that they decided fit the crime, I stand by that. I stand with them, and I'm only grateful for what they provided me for all those years, and I can live with it,
Yeah. Wow, man, you're a champ, man. No, it's just it's such a onward, like, moving forward, positive way to interpret it all, no matter what. It's like just accepting, finding your role in it. Look, I could have been, I have a platform. I was just trying to do something at work that day. I didn't do as much of the background stuff as I could have, just knowing that you didn't really rise to the occasion as much as you probably should have. And so, therefore, even though it got out of control after that there were some consequences.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, look, we're comedians. If anyone out there actually thinks that I was writing a piece in an effort to disgrace or mock
no one does
who had lost her life, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Of course not. I don't know anyone that evil.
No.
I think when you have that many eyeballs, as I said, you have to be a little bit more careful and a little bit more professional.
Yeah.
And I just dropped the ball, and that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough too, because also you're in an environment where, like, Barstool, there's this whole vibe there where it's not kind of professional and it's not organized, but at the same time it is very much so. It's like,
exactly.
Yeah, so it's that's just such a tough space almost to really live in a little bit, to embody the brand, but at the same time to recognize a responsibility in a place that almost thrives on pushing kind of irresponsibility in some ways.
Yeah, I think exactly. And I think, I had a lot. The one thing that was so amazing about working at Barstool is that they give you so much liberty to create your own work, to come up with your own ideas, to act on your own comedic impulses. And, you don't always get it right. Like, sometimes you're not funny. Sometimes you're just stupid, and sometimes you're really offensive. And unfortunately, I think all three were the case working against me with this one.
That dirty trifecta, bro.
Yeah, exactly. The old bowling turkey. Trying to speak Theo Von language, and I can't. But, it was one of those things where I had earned their respect and trust in that I would put out my own work and it would not be problematic, because I had been writing for there long enough that they said, okay, you're independent, you're on your own, we don't need to hold your hand anymore.
Yeah, cruise control kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just one morning you kind of come in and you don't have it on. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to put it. Looking back, I don't even understand what I was thinking. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess in hindsight, it seems just almost like a bizarre thing to even kind of get into, but...
Correct.
But I think that, the websites and stuff, like, I mean, here in Los Angeles, you hear all, so many women, like, screaming about feminism and, and just a lot of violent feminists out here as well. But then you see these literally on on every other billboard, you'll see a sugar baby or a sugar daddy website, which is, you know, I don't think those websites, a lot of men that I know that are on those are, you know, are sick men or troubled men who are just using women for sex and not even giving them any money or any. It just seems like a scary place.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, that element of the story, unfortunately, was something that I did include, but I was reading off of all the websites, and every story was talking about her involvement on those sugar daddy things, and it was like, you know, ABC News, like I didn't bring that to light. And there was one news source that said that one article that said that I was slut shaming this girl.
Oh God.
And that is such a ridiculous.
That's ridiculous, dude.
I mean, if you look at the blog, in no way did I ever say like, oh,
no,
she's a lesser person for having been on these websites. I think I just included it because maybe they thought that was one of the things might have been why she was missing.
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, and it's a scary place. It's a scary place for interaction, especially when you're, you know, when the product a lot of the times is such an intimate product. It's like, you know, if you're going to meet somebody to buy shoes, you could do that out in the front yard. But if you're meeting somebody to engage in, you know, romantic engagements, whether it's a massage or just sitting there watching television together or even sexual endeavors, it's going to be behind closed doors. So it's a lot, it's very, very spooky. And sometimes I worry that a lot of the, you know, some of the, like a lot of young women, they, you know, they say, you know, they hear all this body empowerment, you know, you control your own sex and this and that, and which is true, no doubt. But the fact that some of these young ladies could be misinterpreting that and thinking, you know, okay, well, you know, I don't need to be giving my body away for free or anything. And then they may be misconstruing it and ending up on a lot of these sites. You know, I think we just don't know some of the byproduct of, you know, of some of these big movements sometimes.
Yeah, I you know, it's tough. I don't know much about the world of the seeking arrangement, I think was the website.
Yeah.
That whole thing always seemed, I don't know. It's like, you hope it's a mutually, I guess, safe agreement.
Yeah, it's risky.
How can you control for that? Exactly.
Yeah, that's risky, man. It's just, and look, yeah, it's very sad. I mean, obviously, no one thinks that it's entertaining or funny. You know what happened to this young lady, and it's very sad. But you know, yeah, it's like, I mean, you know, you just wonder, like, if like, you know, some higher presence is using her to help, you know, a lot of, you know, maybe tens of thousands of other girls, you know, stay safe, you know.
Very true. Very well said. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you're one of the funniest and most talented guys that I know, man. Everybody I've met at Barstool, I mean, Portnoy knows how to hire. That is for damn sure.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, it's good to talk to you, man. Love what you're doing. You're one of the most unique people I've ever met, and looking forward to seeing you again soon, my man.
Yeah, same here, man. I'll be in touch soon, man. You got to come and do some weekend with me or something.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Theo. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Francis. Have a good one, man.
You talk. Bye.
All right, peace, bro. And that's him right there, Francis from Barstool. You know, really, I mean, an eloquent, smart guy. And man, he's probably about 6'5", but I think about 40% of it is heart. The guy's got a big heart. And, you know, just to be right there, learn from his mistake, or, you know, learn from even what other people say is your mistake. Fine, I'm going to learn from it no matter what. Instead of fighting the tide, you know, instead of being just a salmon that don't really have a plan, but he keeps swimming against the current. He just said, I'm going to ride it. You know, I'm going to sit here and stay in the current and just think. Let's take one more call. Here we go.
Hey, Theo, this is Austin out of Utah.
Hey, Austin, thank you for calling, brother. Onward.
I just wanted your opinion. So, me and my ex-wife went through a pretty nasty divorce in 2017. It was just, like, nasty between us. We have 2 little kids. We kind of went on and dated other people. I got my own place now. I'm recently single. She's been coming around a little bit more than she used to, and we've been doing some fun stuff with the kids. but she's been like staying the night, and I don't really know what to do because she's dating this other guy. Like I said, kind of feel like it's different because we used to be married and we got kids and stuff, and I'm kind of hoping that we rekindle whatever used to happen, so I can, get my family back or whatever. But with her dating this other guy, maybe I should cut her off, or I don't know what to do, man. Looking for your opinion. Thanks for everything you do. I love the podcast. Gang, gang.
Gang, bruh. Thank you for calling in. Wow, this is a real serious thing. You're so poignant in the way that you really expressed it and just shared exactly what was going on. You have an ex and you have children together. You guys are spending time together again. There's times where she'll stay over, spend time around that seems a little bit, extraditious maybe, if that's a word. But she also is dating someone. And so what do you do? I mean, first of all, man, it's good to be taking this moment to think before you take a wild action. Because you do something wild, you might, you could spoil things. Because you have a couple of good things going. I mean, for one, you have the time you guys are able to spend with the kids together. And I think that is probably really priceless. So I think no matter what you do, probably take it through that filter first. But since I don't have any children and I haven't been in this situation, I think I'm going to see if our listeners have any suggestions for you. And you guys heard the call. You guys heard his, what he's in. What should he do? She's still dating this other guy. Now, I'll say this, man. In my experience with rekindling things with an ex, you always have a stronger hold. If you had a real place in that person's heart, and you probably do if you've had a couple children, that you always have a stronger hold, a foothold in there than you ever realize maybe. And the thing is, if you do end up back together or really tightening things up, you want it to be really perfect because you can't, it has to be, you're not going to, if it's going to happen, it needs to be a different experience than the one that took you guys apart. So I think, being patient obviously is key because you can't make it's easy for you to make a wrong move here, it feels like. So I think obviously being loving, first and foremost, especially with the kids. And then let's see what some other people say, man. Let's see what some of our listeners suggest for you. The number is 985-664-9503. Let me get your name one more time.
Hey, Theo, this is Austin out of Utah.
Austin in Utah. If you have a suggestion for Austin, you can hit the hotline 985-664-9503. We had some Patreon questions. I'm going to get to those next time. I also have, we got some new Billy Conforto shirts up on the website, theovon.com/store. And thank you everyone who came out last week to Tulsa, to Kane's Ballroom, to the Tower Theater over there in Oklahoma City, to San Antonio and to Austin. Man, what an experience. I'm getting to live my dream, and we did it, man. We did it. And I really feel that way, and thank you so much. I don't know, sometimes we just have a special group, man. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to damn well do it. But yeah, happy Independence Day to you. God bless all the men and women who are currently serving our country and who have served. Thank you. Much braver than me. There's not a moment at the airport when I see someone in military jackets saying goodbye to their loved one or something, and see that moment, or see them kissing out front, or, see the couple or the mom or dad's, hugging their kids or saying bye. And man, it just goes real deep in me. And dude, I'll tell you this, one of my new uplifters, if I'm not feeling well, I'll watch those military surprise videos on the internet. Dude, I didn't know I had so many tears in my body. I mean, I will just start leaking out of my eyes. I mean, just like a fire hydrant in the summer in Brooklyn, man. I just can't handle it. And I just really lose myself, man, when I see it. And sometimes it's the kid at school and they open the door and it's the football player and he runs through the paper and his dad's right there. And it just, you know, I don't know. There's just something about those videos that encapsulates human connection for me. Oh, man. But thank you very much. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to you. And yeah, what it means to be independent, man. Sometimes I feel so independent, though, that I feel like I got to fight it in some ways. I got to just, because I want to have other people in my life. I don't want to be alone, and I'm not alone, but I don't, it's like there's that thing in me that wants me to stay alone sometimes. It's that dark art that wants to just keep me behind the curtain. So, I don't know. I'm all over the place, man. My neck is killing me. I got to go get some type of relief. But you guys be good to yourselves, man. You deserve it. And I love you. If nobody told you that today, I'll tell you right now, straight up. Point blank, son or daughter, I love you. And I hope you have a happy 4th of July. If you're not doing something, reach out to somebody you know is doing something. Ask them if you can bring something by. Do something. Make a little plan. If you don't have plans, make a plan. Somebody didn't reach out to you, don't think about it like that. Go reach out to somebody else and ask them to go do something. And then they might say, oh, well, I'm already doing this. Why don't you come with me? Sometimes one of the main things that's keeping us alone is ourselves, sadly. It's so hard sometimes to reach out to somebody else. It really is. Isn't it crazy? Sometimes it's so hard to reach out to somebody and say, look, I don't really want to be alone, But then if somebody hears that, they can relate to that so much. Man, being alive, it is a fascinating journey. And that's it. I don't know why I keep rambling, but yeah, man, I'm just so grateful, man. Just an amazing weekend to go to just really some beautiful places in America. Just snailing along, that. Just snailing along. Go celebrate.
Celebrate living, celebrate misery. You know that soon we're gonna die. Let's have some fun while we all die. Celebrate dark days.